Hello again, music fans. I am back here for another music collection update video. Here, a brief one. I got the three new CDs and the three more albums in digital format. Okay, but the first thing I'm going to show off here is my new acquisition to my jacket here, my Heaven and Hell patch right there, which you can take a look at that. Of course, as I had mentioned, I am only putting patches on my jacket of bands that I have seen live, and yes, I did have the fortune of seeing Heaven and Hell, and in fact, I still have the ticket right here. It is this one. It is right there from the Dodge Theater in Phoenix, Arizona, Sunday, April 22nd of 2007. So quite some time ago. All right, but I'm proud to have seen, Ronnie James Dio with the Geezer and Tony Iommi and also Carmen Abbasi. All right, reforming the Heaven and Hell lineup. Great show. As I recall, it was Megadeth opening up for that one, and also Machine Head. Okay, well, let's go on to the music, and starting with some progressive rock. I am now starting to get into a subgenre of progressive rock that I knew was very high regarded, which was those bands from Italy from the 1970s. Here I have the very first one that I have in that subgenre from Banco del Mutuo Soccorso, the Italian band. And this album, which is by many considered either their best or one of their best, is Io sono nato libero, which means I was born free. Okay, in Italian. This entire album is sung in Italian. It is very 70s prog. It's very Yes influenced. Think Yes, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Rick Wakeman, his solo stuff, that kind of stuff. So, I have listened to it once, and I admit it kind of left me scratching my head, But then on second listen, I started to see something there, and I'm really starting to get into it. Okay, Banco del Mutuo Soccorso. Now for some real progressive metal, and actually this band is much more of a heavy metal band completely with progressive elements. I'm talking about Sons of Apollo. Here with their album 2020, which came out, of course, last year in 2020. This is their second album, and this is one of those supergroup bands where we have Billy Sheehan, who has been with a whole bunch of people, including David Lee Roth, Mike Portnoy, Dream Theater, and a million other bands. Jeff Scott Soto, Derek Sherinian, who was also in Dream Theater, and Ron Bumblefoot Thrall, okay, who I believe was with Boston for a time, and also maybe Guns N' Roses, I think, yes. Okay, well, anyway, 2020, and this is a very heavy album. The first track, Goodbye Divinity, super heavy stuff. They have a video for that if you want to check it out. Okay, like I said, this is a heavy metal album with some progressive rock overtones right there. Really good stuff. I was really impressed with their first album as well. And now for some classic of progressive metal. Dream Theater, Awake. I am slowly getting into the, starting to acquire the early Dream Theater albums which I did not have. Okay, so this one, because I was more aware of these tracks from their live album. Okay, so here, like for instance, Caught in a Web, Innocence Faded, Scarred. Great album from start to finish. Dream Theater, Awake. Now for the digital purchases, which I will put over here. The first one is from a band here from my local, not my city, from my state, here in the north of Mexico, the state of Sonora. And it is Lost Nebula. Okay, they're an independent band. They play progressive metal. And I had seen them live once, right here in my city in a local club. I was really impressed by them. I bought a CD off of them directly, you know, supporting their work right there. And the second album I bought digitally. Really good stuff. You know, a bit raw around the edges in the production, but still really good. You know, some heavy Dream Theater influences right there, but they're really starting to get their own sound. The next one I have here is from the band Geigex. All right, and the album is called Second Edition. Now, if the word Geigex means anything to you, it might be because you're either a player or a fan of the role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, and the thing is that game was invented by somebody called Gary Gygax. So this band named themselves after him, and so their album, their whole theme is around the Dungeons and Dragons theme. Now, if you look at their album covers, this one that I have right here is their second album, I believe, which is called Second Edition. Just like the Dungeons and Dragons games has editions, you know. And the first one was, I believe, called Critical Hits. They have a third album called High Fantasy. Okay, but what does it sound like, you may ask? Well, this band is a classic rock and roll and classic hard rock and roll, and very much in the style of Thin Lizzy. I am very much reminded of Thin Lizzy when I hear them, and also some early Kiss, you know, and that's a great thing. I really love the album from start to finish. Really catchy stuff. Okay, recommended. The third one is the super heavy thrash metal album with overtones of death metal by the Brazilian band Nervosa. Okay, now Nervosa has gone through some heavy lineup changes because earlier in the year of 2020, two of their members, and the band was a trio, two of their members left. You know, their bassist, singer, and their drummer, leaving only one member, which was the founding member, whose name is Prica Amaral. Also to mention that this is an all-female band. Okay, so well anyway, the band was left with just one member, the founding member, but she did not just sit around and mope. She quickly recruited three more women to the lineup of Nervosa, which would be, I'm going to put a picture of the band here across the screen. We have here the blonde woman, that is standing up. That is the founding member, Prica Amaral. The very attractive looking lady in the middle is Diva Satanica, the singer, who does the death metal growls really, really well. The blonde woman who is crouching is Mia Winter Wallace, formerly of the black metal band Abbat. And the very small girl with the Marvel t-shirt is called I forget her name. I'm going to put it right here in the bottom. Okay. And but this album is fantastic. It is a thrash metal all the way, old school thrash metal, and with, like I said, with some overtones of death metal right there. Some people say that they even hear some black metal in there. Myself, since I'm not too versed on black metal, I don't really hear it. But really good stuff, really, really heavy stuff. I really recommend this album by Nervosa, which is called Perpetual Chaos. All right. And also, I'm going to show off these three flexi discs, you know, which I have had for some time. They come included with the magazine, a Decibel magazine, which I've bought a few issues of, actually three only, and that's where these three flexi discs come from. Here is one from Electric Wizard. Let's see if we can get that. Electric Wizard. Okay. There we go. The song here is Satyr 9. And we have this by the doom metal band Cathedral. And it is Vengeance of the Blind Dead. And as a rarity, this is not from Decibel magazine. This is one that I've had for a million years. It is from the Starlog magazine, okay, which was a science fiction magazine, which I don't know if still exists. And this is the not the soundtrack, but just a track from the science fiction film First Men on the Moon, right there. Check it out. All right. First Man on the Moon, right there. The last thing I'm going to show, it's from, again, I haven't shown this before. It's from my personal collection. It's a Black Sabbath comic book here, done by Rocket Comics, an imprint of Malibu Comics. And it tells the story of their beginnings, the very beginnings of Black Sabbath, right there. That's Ozzy right there. Okay, the very beginnings of Black Sabbath and how they were formed, and it even includes the anecdote that of Geezer, where that kind of inspired the song Black Sabbath. What is this that stands before me, that he once woke up and found, and saw an evil figure right there by his bedside. And it also includes some interviews with the band circa early 90s, I believe 93. We have Tony Iommi here interviewed. There's also an interview with Geezer and their discography up to that time. Okay, Black Sabbath, the comic book. Okay, well, that's all I have for this music update. And I do have 2 more coming in the mail that will be in the next update. All right, well, thank you very much for watching, and so long.